Good morning, kids. This is Miss Isabella. So the memory verse of this month is still, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. And this is from Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1. So I would like you to write this verse down if you haven't already and try to memorize it as often as you can, okay? So today we have a story to tell. Are you all ready? The story is God makes a way. Moses and God's people escaped out of Egypt and into the wilderness. They didn't know the way, but God knew the way and He would show them. I will bring you to a new home, a special land God promised them. I will look after you. I am with you. God sent a big cloud for them to follow, a pillar of smoke stretching up to the sky. It moved in front of them as they walked and shaded them from the blazing heat of the day. And when it was time to rest, it stopped it. All through the cold desert nights, it kept them warm, glowing like fire. God led His people through the desert to the edge of the Great Sea. They were just wondering how to cross it when, suddenly, they heard a terrible thundering and pounding. It sounded almost like horses' hooves. They shaded their eyes to look back and screamed. It was Pharaoh and his army were coming to get them. Pharaoh had changed his mind again. Get my slaves back. He screeched and charged out into the desert after them with 600 of his fastest horsemen and every single chariot in Egypt. That sounds very scary, isn't it? And here's a perfect illustration to show you. This is Pharaoh in his chariot, and him and his army are coming after Moses and his people. Let's find out what's next. So what were God's people going to do? In front of them was a big sea. It was so big, there was no way around it, but there was no way through it. It was just too deep. They didn't have any boats, so they couldn't sail across. And they couldn't swim across because it was too far and they would drown. And they couldn't turn back because Pharaoh was chasing them. They could see the flashing swords now glinting in the baking sun, and the dust clouds and the chariot after scary chariot surging towards them. So they did the only thing there was left to do, which is panic. Okay, here's a picture show you why Moses and his people are panicking right at this moment. So there's Pharaoh in his chariot along with his army coming after Moses and his people. Those poor people, see, they're trying to figure out a way, but there's no way they could survive. So that's the reason they are panicking. We are going to die, they shrieked. Don't be afraid, Moses said, but there's nothing we can do, they screamed. God knows you can't do anything, Moses said. God will do it for you. Trust Him and watch. But there's no way out, they cried. God will make a way. Moses said, another minute and it would have been over. But then the strangest thing happened. I wonder what happened. God made the pillar of smoke move. It moved behind His people and hid them from the Egyptians. Then God sent a strong east wind to blow all night long. It blew on the water of the big sea. It blew it to the left, and also it blew it to the right, until it blew it into two towering walls of water. And there, right through the middle of the sea, a muddy pathway opened up. And God's people walked across on dry land. And that is truly a miracle. Once again, here's a picture. So God sent strong wind. It blew the ocean water to the left, which is your right. And it blew the ocean water to the right, which is gonna be your left. And what happens is that it opened a pathway so Moses and his people could walk through it without getting drowned. When the Egyptians tried to follow, the walls of water crashed back down on them and swallowed them up. God's people were safe. They danced and laughed and sung and thanked God. When there had been no way out, God had made a way. Many years later, once again, God was going to make a way where there was no way. From the beginning, God's children had been running from Him and hiding, but God knew His children could never be happy without Him. But they couldn't get back to Him by themselves. They were lost. They didn't know the way back, but God knew the way, and one day He would show them. This is Moses' offspring living on this happy land. So by the end of the story, it says, God knew the way, and one day He would show them. Let's trust in the Lord, and He will deliver us from all the chaos around us. And we just need to trust Him, put our faith in Him, and He will show us the way. So I hope you guys enjoy your weekend with your family, and I will talk to you later. Okay? Bye-bye now. Kids, so the craft that we're going to do today is inspired by a picture from a storybook, which is God Makes a Way. We're going to draw a picture similar to this one, okay? And the supplies we need for today is colored pencils, or you can use crayons or just color pens. It depends on you. And also a piece of plain paper. And this is optional. If you have blue hard paper, you can use this later, and also a glue stick and a pair of scissors. Be careful using the pair of scissors, okay? So I have a sample that I made ahead of time. This is very similar to the picture that we have in the book. This is the story that God split the sea open and created the pathway for Moses and his people to go across without drowned. Okay, so now let's get started. So first, we are going to use the blue color pencil to draw a diagonal line on the left and another diagonal line on the right. I don't think this is showing on the camera, so we're going to use a darker color, okay? So a darker blue on the left and on the right. Now, we can start drawing our waves, okay? So let's start from the bottom. Go up, come down, make like a little hook, and go up. It's a big curve. Then we can just repeat, make a smaller wave, and go back. Now, you can make as many waves as you can, okay? But I'm just gonna make 3 on the left and also 3 waves on the right. So still, again, start from the bottom, go up, curve down, and curve back up. Go down, curve back up. Last one. See, your waves does not need to be perfect because mine isn't. Alright, after the waves, we can find a lighter colored crayon or pencil to color in our waves. And leave this part out. You can make some wavy lines. Color it in. Alright, do the same on the right side. Now find a colored pencil that is brown or light brown, and we're just gonna slightly dust color in the middle. That represents the muddy pathway Jesus created for Moses and his people to walk through without drowning. Okay. Next, you can find any color actually, any color you would like to use. You can draw some fish in the waves, because whenever Jesus split the sea into two halves, some fish are jumping in and out of the waves. So we can just draw easy fish. Draw a simple fish. Okay. And now, on the top of the paper, we're going to draw a cross. Again, you can use any color. Okay, here I'm using purple. So underneath the cross, we are going to write down, God makes a way. Because God always makes a way for us. Okay, and that's also the topic of our story today. Alright, the next part is optional. I know some of you are very good at drawing, not me. We can add on some people, okay? So that represents Moses and his people. So this first one is gonna be a lady, so she has long hairs. And they are looking forward. So we're only seeing the back view of those people, okay? So just some simple illustration. Doesn't need to be complicated. Or maybe she's wearing a skirt or dress. Okay, and we can add on a couple more. We can add on a small child. Maybe that's a boy. So he has short hair. And that's his little arms and little leg. And we can add on a couple more. So this person is excited to see the pathway. Okay, now the last part is optional. If you have blue color paper, you can draw the waves, maybe smaller. Okay, draw a couple more. And then you can cut them out, okay? So that's our first wave. We're going to use our glue to glue on our paper or our picture to make it more three-dimensional. Okay, well, on the other one, see, you can glue on the bottom or the middle or maybe the top. It all depends on you, okay? Here okay, I'm gonna glue on the middle. Put some glue.
Okay, we can even make it like off the paper, off our base paper a little bit. So that make it a little bit three-dimensional. Okay, so that's our final product. Remember, God always makes a way, and we all need to trust Him. Bye!
Now let's bow our heads and pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day, Lord. Thank you for everything that you provided for us through this time, Lord. And thank you for the family and friends and just church family and friends we have, Lord. And please continue to give us wisdom and courage and strengthen our faith in you, Lord. And also please just show us the way. And we know you always have the way. You have your perfect timing for everything, Lord. And I just pray this in your name. Amen.